And we're live. Hi everyone, welcome to my Game Week 2 FPL deadline stream. As always, if you're able to like, share and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. So what I'm going to do is just run over the games for Game Week 2 with a quick mini preview. I'll look at the predicted lineups as has been documented from Jump the Wave, and I'll also make my FPL transfer or transfers live on this stream, and hopefully the website won't crash this time. So without further ado, first things first, I'm going to get straight into, well, I've done my review already in a separate video. So I'm going to get straight into the preview for Game Week 2 and the games that we've got coming up starting from this Friday. So first of all, we've got a Friday night match with Sheffield United and Nottingham Forest. So I'm just going to get my screen at hand. Just give me one moment. Here we go. So yeah, it's an unusual kickoff time of 7:45 p.m. So obviously we often get 8 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. kickoff. So just keep that in mind that the deadline today isn't at 6:30, it's at 6:15 p.m. So we've got less than 45 minutes to go before that happens. With this matchup, I mentioned last week that Ndai, who was a very influential player for Sheffield United, is no longer part of their team, played an integral part to them staying up. And I feel that Sheffield United haven't really replaced him for a like-for-like player. It's going to be a significant struggle for them tonight. So with this Forest match, Forest definitely, despite losing to Arsenal, quite impressed quite significantly on that Saturday lunchtime kickoff. I'm going to call this a comfortable Forest win. It could be 1-0, it could be 2-0, and perhaps I'm biased as well because I've put myself in a position whereby I have to consider getting a 6.0 midfielder, and there might be one or two options within the Forest team that I'll share with you that I might potentially consider as well. If you've got any questions, by the way, put them in the live chat and I'll answer as many as possible as well. So yeah, look, Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United, comfortable 2-0 win there. And then moving on to the next match for Game Week 2, it's the Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff, Fulham against Brentford. With Fulham, there's still a lot of this drama with the Mitrovic, will he, won't he transfer? Seems like he's on the way out, and they've obviously signed Raul Jimenez as a potential replacement, and they've also got Vincius in there as well. And with Brentford, we saw how they secured a win on the, well, not a win, I beg your pardon. They secured a draw on the opening day against a Kane-less Spurs. So I think this is going to be a quite interesting game. It's a West London derby match as well, so to speak. I'm going to say it's a Brentford win, just like a narrow 2-1 or a 1-0 perhaps, but it'll be a fairly tight encounter nonetheless. And coming on to the other 3 p.m. kickoff, which is Liverpool against Bournemouth. Of course, this fixture took place around the same time last year, albeit in Game Week 3, and Liverpool won 9-0 against Bournemouth, and it was a very different Bournemouth team as well. But the difference then was that we had 18 attacking fancy returns and none whatsoever for Mohamed Salah. And that was obviously anomalous. And I can't see Liverpool beating Bournemouth by such a margin again this time around. But you'd expect that if there is some sort of goal involvement in this match for Liverpool, which there should be, that Mohamed Salah should be involved. And it'll be interesting to see how they line up as well, because we saw that Salah got subbed off early and they've got lots of different options that they can use as well. And the question is that, has Mohamed Salah lost his shine? Can he still perform to the levels that he's shown us over the past few years? That's a question that I feel not many are willing to answer right now. And for the time being, at least, there isn't anything to say that his form is dipping off significantly. It's still early days. But I would say that he is, without a doubt, one of the standout captain options for Game Week 2 as well, if not one from a possible 2, really. So he's on my mind, and it's someone I'm willing to shoehorn in even for a -4. And I'll come on to that with my team reveal in due course. So on to the next 3 p.m. kickoff, Wolves against Brighton. And I have to say, this Wolves team, with a new manager, perhaps it was a new manager's bounce opening game at Old Trafford, very unlucky not to get a positive result against Manchester United. That clangor of a cock-up by Onana right at the end should have been a penalty. And at the very least, Wolves should have gone away from Old Trafford with 1 point. And perhaps if not 1 point, if they could finish probably with 3 points. Not sure what happened with United. They weren't at the races. Conversely, with Brighton, they just basically got a pass score against Luton in that opening match. I'm expecting this to be a relatively close encounter as well, but I'm going to call this a Brighton win. Comfortable 1 goal. Well, I say comfortable. I'd say it's a 1 goal margin, and I just can't see Wolves winning it, despite them impressing in that opening match. And then on to the final game for the Saturday, Spurs against United. This fixture always seems to have goals in it, whatever the season and whatever the manager, really. And again, it's a Kane-less Spurs, but we saw in that opening game for Spurs that there are goals in that team, even without Harry Kane. And United, on the other hand, got off to a very sluggish start against Wolves in that opening game. I feel that Spurs will surprise many managers, and well, FPL managers, that is. And I feel that they will have momentum on their side as well. I'm going to call this a draw for this late Saturday kickoff. And then, oh, of course, the Saturday evening kickoff as well. Just forgot about that as well. Man City against Newcastle. Of course, Manchester City won the European Super Cup during the midweek. Thankfully, there wasn't extra time. It just went straight to penalties. And Pep has been complaining quite a lot about that fixture and how could it be that City have had to fulfill that European commitment, albeit it's just effectively a European charity community shield, so to speak, and they could have played on Sunday easily or Monday, but TV commitments and other reasons have forced them to play at 8 p.m. Newcastle, on the other hand, very surprising, resounding win against Aston Villa. I thought a win was doable, but not by the margin that they did against Unai Emery's team. And of course, Villa have a very bad record against Newcastle United at St James's Park. I feel that with this particular fixture, it's going to be very tight. No doubt that there'll be lots of rotation for Man City as well. So I'm still going to call this a Man City win, but it'll be an extremely narrow win. They'll probably scuff a goal off Haaland or Rodri or something. I can't see this being I could see Newcastle even scoring in this match as well, but it'll be a very narrow win and very hard for Newcastle to get a positive result, even with Pep at Manchester City. But yeah, narrow win for Man City. And perhaps that's a bias as a Newcastle United fan as well, that I just can't be overly optimistic, even after seeing that fantastic opening win of the season. And then on to the Sunday fixtures, we've got Aston Villa against Everton. Of course, Aston Villa will be licking their wounds after that game week 1 drubbing, and Everton, on the other hand, just haven't been at the races for a very long time when it comes to FPL and just the Premier League in general. I feel that a bounce back win is due for Aston Villa, and I would say that's a comfortable win for them against Everton in that 2 p.m. kickoff. Coming on to West Ham against Chelsea. Of course, West Ham have had a bit of transition this season with the likes of Declan Rice no longer being in their team, and they also have some other potential outgoings and ingoings as well. And then Chelsea, who've radically overhauled their team. Lots of players have gone out, lots of players have gone in. I feel that despite Chelsea having more transition, it almost feels like they've got more of the upswing in terms of the players that they've brought in as well. They've kind of cleared the decks, as it were, and have definitely added value to their attack. So I'm going to call this a Chelsea win. Might be narrow, but it will definitely be a Chelsea win from my perspective. And then on to the Monday night game. We've got, lastly, Crystal Palace against Arsenal. Again, Crystal Palace under Roy Hodgson. Is it the third, the fourth? Just like he just keeps on regenerating and manages Palace. He'll probably be there for quite some time, knowing him. And then Arsenal, who had a comfortable, well, I say comfortable, need to be careful the wording there. Not even routine. They got the business done against Nottingham Forest, and I've got no doubt that Forest will put up a fight, having been to Selhurst Park and experiencing that atmosphere that they've got at the ground as well. Of course, Zaha isn't there anymore, so that's a different kettle of fish altogether. But we've had Elise, if I'm not mistaken, sign a new long-term contract as well, so there'll definitely be a buzz about the place. I'm still calling this an Arsenal win, albeit a relatively narrow one nonetheless. So coming on to the predicted lineups, I just want to reiterate, these predicted lineups are from Jump the Wave. So Emma has an assortment of predictors for different teams, and they essentially aggregate their results. And my understanding is that the stronger predictors remain on, and the ones who've got more wrong than they've got right, they eventually get omitted. So it's a very interesting predicting system, and I'm not sure if you can see this on the screen. I think you can just about see it. This is the predicted Arsenal lineup. So I'll just go down slightly. So we've got 100% obviously for Ramsdale. There we go. I think we can see it on screen there with the percentage there. So Ben White 100%, Saliba 100%. I think the main talking point was Gabriel and whether he's going to get benched again. And according to the predictors, this really surprised me. 100% of the predictors are saying Gabriel will start this match. So if you didn't sell Gabriel, then perhaps there's some hope there for us just yet. And if you did a like-for-like Saliba transfer, then in some ways that was definitely a luxury move. So fair play if you managed to do that. And it's interesting with Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, it's less than 50% for both of them. So not sure who's going to start between them. And then we've got Partey at 82%, Rice 100, Odegaard 100, Trossard at 12%, interestingly enough, Havertz at 82%, and Nketiah at 34%, and the rest who I've not even mentioned, 100% plus. So the biggest takeaway from the predicted Arsenal lineups from this lineup prediction from at Jump the Wave is that Gabriel will be starting. On to the next lineup. This is Manchester United's predicted lineup. We've got 100% for Onana, 100% for Varane, and then this talk about Dalot, 6%, Wan-Bissaka at 94%. So that bodes well for anyone who took the risk on Wan-Bissaka at 4.5 million, sure 100%. And then, the rest, as you'd expect, to be 100% as well. And Anthony at 94%. But the one significant change was Garnacho, who it just seemed like he was just trying too hard in that Monday night fixture, really. And it's projected that he'll almost certainly be benched. And in his place, there's a very likely possibility that Sancho will get a start for United in game week 2. So that's the biggest takeaway from this predicted lineup here. On to Manchester City. Of course, I mentioned that they had the European Super Cup commitments. Ederson still expected to start. Rico Lewis, who started that Friday night fixture, he's at 7% to start. So not good news if you jumped on the early team news for him for that game week 1 fixture. Ruben Dias is at less than 50%. Guardiola at 62%. But if you've got Akanji or Walker, you'll be loving it with a projection of 90 and 97% respectively. And Ake at 97% as well. I had a feeling that Ake might have been a minor doubt, but 97% shows that he's a likely starter. Of course, Rodri and Kovacic 197% respectively. Foden at 97, Grealish at 100, and then the KDB injury has kind of like eased up the predictability of this starting 11. And I can see in the chat as well, many did copy me with that KDB pick, and I will announce who my replacement is as well. So don't worry about that. That could have been so much more different. He obviously assisted the assist for the opening goal of the season, and it was somewhat of a risk getting him in, but he allowed me to have balance. And if you did literally copy my team, you ended up with 74 points as well. So it wasn't like the worst score in the world, considering that our premium attacker got injured, got 20 odd minutes in game week 1. I feel that was still a relatively decent score, considering that almost everyone else delivered except for the United attackers. And yeah, I just gutted with Shaw really, because for those that tuned into my Friday night stream ahead of game week 1, you saw I had Walker, I had Varane in my team, and had I stuck with that team before the team leaks came out and acted upon the KDB start news, I would have had even more points. I would have had Mohamed Salah in my team as well, if I'm not mistaken, actually. I would have had like Turner and Areola. And at that point, Areola wasn't even a guaranteed starter for West Ham. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'm not going to complain. I've had worse game week 1s, had a relatively template team. And I will announce and I will show you what I'm working on for my next transfer after this final prediction, which is at Jump the Wave. Be sure to give Emma a follow on Twitter. 100% for Sanchez, of course, with the likes of Kepa and Mendy no longer being there. Chilwell, 100%. The James injury, obviously, was a massive torpedo to those that had James in. And it's expected at 96% that Gusto will start. Silva and Colwill at 100% as well. Disasi at 19%. Gallagher, interestingly, just about over 50 with 66%. The likes of Enzo, Caicedo, Modric expected to start. And then Jackson and Sterling also expected to start as well. So I think that the main takeaway here is that if Gusto gets regular start for this Chelsea team, that they would be absolutely loving it from I don't want to call him like a Lundstrom, but like how often is it that you get like a 4.0 defender from the likes of a Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool or Arsenal? It's very rare. And if James is out for 3 to 4 months, as has been mentioned across like multiple outlets, then I think that would offer exceptional value. So just keep that in mind as well. Anyway, I know you're not here for my team reviews. I know you're not here for the predicted lineups. You want to know who's coming into my team. Well, I've saved you a click and I've saved you some time. So as a reminder, I had KDB in my team, and I had Fernandez in my team as well. So and for those that follow my captaincy analysis, you'll know that I have talked up Mohamed Salah's merits. Clearly, a very, on paper, a good candidate. The algorithm likes him as well. Fixture seems very reasonable, and they want to get off the mark with a win after drawing against Chelsea on Sunday. I want to get Mohamed Salah in, but for me to do that, I have to take a -4. Now, the annoying thing is, if I just show you, of course, KDB had the price drop, and I was shortchanged by 0.1 million. And my auto move would have been KDB out, Salah in, Fernandez out, and I would have brought in Mbeumo. That's the move I was looking at. But really, I was locked out of that move. And I looked at other options. Who could I get? McAllister. Really, I couldn't justify him. Rodri. I don't think Rodri's a one-trick pony. I think he'll be scoring more goals and more assists than he got last season, without a shadow of a doubt. But for now, it's a wait for me, especially with that Newcastle United fixture. Morgan Gibbs-White, if I'm not mistaken, he is on set pieces for Nottingham Forest. He's 6.0 million. And for me, I want to just state this. He's not like a long-term pick. He is someone who I feel I can take a risk on for this a lot, just until I wildcard, basically. So it's almost like at 6 million, you're kind of just taking a risk, as it were. And is he underpriced or is he over, like price wise? I'm not sure what the justification is. I want to show something actually. I'm just going to share my screen here as well. Just flip it over to something that really impressed me with Morgan Gibbs-White, because I remember towards the end of last season I kept on seeing his name popping up whenever a goal involvement took place. So if you can see this, so towards the end of last season, Morgan Gibbs-White, he clocked up 3 goals and hold on, have I got this? Just make sure I've got this absolutely right, just to make sure, because that doesn't look right to me. Just make sure. Is that right? 1 second. Yeah, 3 goals and 3 assists towards the end of last season. I think it was not Palace. I think it was like Brentford, Chelsea, and Arsenal is when he blanked actually in those other games. But he's clearly someone who has impressed against the not so elite teams, as it were. So again, I honestly don't know much about him. I also noticed by chance that he's also in like Scouts 11 as well, and that's not the reason why I chose him. I literally need a 6.0 million midfielder. If you've got a suggestion in the chat, let me know as well. And for those that are in the chat, if you're able to like, share, and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. I can't do this stream and I can't continue this channel without your support. And I can see all those questions. I will answer every single one of them during this stream. And if anyone has any reliable leaked news, please let me know, put it in the chat, and I will try and verify it during the stream as well. So that would be greatly appreciated. So yeah, Morgan Gibbs-White seems like an integral member to Forest's attack. The other person I considered was Brennan Johnson, actually. And with Brennan Johnson in particular, he actually was, if I'm not mistaken, he was a forward last season, but he's now been reclassified as a midfielder. I might be wrong on that. But the problem with him was, even at 6.0 million, I know he started the last game, he seen his goal involvement started to dry up towards the end of last season. So with him, I couldn't make that justification. But Morgan Gibbs-White, he's on set pieces. And against Sheffield United, is he a punt? Yes, he is a punt for me. But at 6.0 million as a fifth midfielder, the pickings are very slim. I did consider Pedro Neto at one point, Paquetá as well, with the apparent talk of him going to Manchester City as well. So those were the options. But I want to flip back to my screen. I haven't confirmed my transfers yet, but I'm about to do a -4 and have Mohamed Salah as my captain, unless anyone has any reliable team news to tell me otherwise. I'm expecting Morgan Gibbs-White to start against Sheffield United tonight. So that's something that I'm hoping for. I wish I could have rolled my transfer. I know I've circulated the Paolo Maldini quote throughout this week as well, but I have to deal with the reality at hand. And the problem is that De Bruyne is injured. There isn't a like-for-like 10.5, 10.0 midfielder I can get. So I have to go for either downsize. I could have just got Diaz, but then I'd have to captain Haaland. But for me, it's like Mohamed Salah. If I'm going to get Mohamed Salah early on, it has to be now. Am I willing to -4 for him? Yes, I am. Am I hoping that the me captaining him will insulate the hit? I'm hoping so. This is almost like it's very. Some will say, "Oh, are you not going to captain Mohamed Salah for the other fixtures? What's the point of having him?" And that is a valid point as well. But I'm just hoping that he's someone who can deliver, even as a non-captain as well. And is he worth 12.5 million? I guess we're going to find out soon enough. So I will hit confirm very shortly. Don't worry about that unless I have news otherwise. But yeah, I'm looking at this De Bruyne and Fernandes out for Salah and Gibbs-White. And I thought to myself, who else could I get rid of? Not going to get rid of Saka. Can't get rid of Matoma due to the money. Not Rashford as well. I know Fernandes is a new Manchester United captain. My only concern is he too deep lying now? But then he was deep lying at times towards the end of last season as well. So it's a reluctant sell. I have to get rid of him, and he'll probably punish me now with a fantasy return or two against what they called Spurs. Right, on to your questions now. And I just want to say again, if you've got any reliable leak information that's popped up on your timelines, let me know in the chat. I'll verify it and then I'll validate it as well. So, questions. I have Foden and no bench. Do you think I should go for Gusto or just roll? So, I think Gusto is definitely a good shout. I personally think there's a good chance of him starting. So, I think Foden will also start as well. So, I don't think you've got any fires there just yet. So, I would say start Foden and perhaps see how Gusto is doing in game week 2 and perhaps get him in for game week 3. As mentioned, get as many questions as you've got, I can answer between now and the end of the stream. I'll do so, and yeah, and just let me know of any leaks that come through. So I'm not used to streaming and looking at leaks concurrently. This is a new thing I've done from last season. So just let me know. And as I've mentioned, if you're able to like, share, subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you've already done all of that and you want to buy me a coffee, the link is in the description below. So got another comment. Copied your team and waiting on the replacement for KDB. So I hope I've answered your question. Haven't hit confirmed yet, but Salah and Gibbs White in for KDB and Bruno Fernandes is what I'm on at right now. But I'm just gonna give it one final think. Best 1 week punt for Liverpool, not Salah. Who would you sell to get Salah? Odegaard or Fernandes? So I kind of feel that I've answered that question already, that I'm actually going to sell Fernandes. I think both Odegaard and Fernandes offer exceptional value, but I heard an interesting stat. Wasn't it Odegaard, the first Arsenal player to score 15 goals since the days of Cesc Fabregas? So that's something that is worth keeping in mind. Again, I wouldn't sell Odegaard just yet. Even Fernandes, selling him right now feels a bit too early as well. But if you, hold on, just read this. Would you sell? Who do you sell to get Salah? Best 1 week punt for Liverpool. So yeah, I'm in that situation as well. That if you wanted to bring the question up, if there was a 1 week punt, it would be Diaz, obviously playing on the left-hand side for Liverpool, if I'm not mistaken. That's your like-for-like transfer. But I want a captain as well. I'm not one who favours a super differential captain. So if in this game week, I'd only captain Mohamed Salah or I'd only captain Haaland, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. So I basically thought to myself, you know what? If I'm going to take a -4, I might as well get Mohamed Salah in, and then I'll captain him as well. That's what my thinking was. If it all goes horribly wrong, I'm happy to wildcard by game week 4, so I'm perfectly relaxed about it. So next question, do price changes reset once the game week commences? So the algorithm, as it were, I believe that resets, and then the buying and the selling that takes place will obviously then get factored in. But then we also see it time and time again where if a lot of managers are buying a particular player, the deadline passes, then the threshold can be met as well. So I don't know how it works exactly, but basically in a nutshell, if someone is being sold heavily, there's a good chance their price is going to drop in the next 1 to 2 days. On the counter, if someone is being bought in their droves, likely that their price is going to rise in the next 1 to 2 days as well. And there are some anomalies there. So start Kovacic or Havertz. That's a bit of an interesting one. I wouldn't even have Kovacic in my team. I would say start Havertz. And just as a reminder for you, for the person who's asking me that question, I'm going to bring you Arsenal's predicted lineup from at Jump the Wave that we mentioned earlier. And at Jump the Wave's predictors are projecting an 82% possibility that Havertz is going to start. You probably can't see it in that far right column, but there it is. So if I was in your boots, I would definitely start Havertz if given the choice. And let me just flip screen again. On to the next question. Hi, bro. Would you play Turner or Ramsdale? That is a very good question. I feel that this it feels as if like the whole universe is playing Turner right now because of the fixture. I'll be honest with you. I will probably put Turner in goal right now due to the trickier fixture for Edison. So it's a hard one. It's really hard to justify. Like either you're going to get burnt super early with Turner or get the point super early, or you're going to get burnt or be super pleased late on with Ramsdale. It's a tough one. I'm starting Turner instead of Edison, but that is not comparative to the Ramsdale situation because he's not obviously facing off against a Champions League team. So another advice I've been given, it would have been better to sell Rashford for Richarlison rather than Bruno. Please explain that to me. I kind of feel that with Fernandes, there wasn't much that I saw. Obviously, he was integral to the goal that was scored on Monday night. But then apart from that, I didn't really see much else from him. Is it too early to transfer out Darwin? Obviously, he's a rotation risk. And if we just remind ourselves, if I've got the predicted lineups for Liverpool as well, I've got a feeling I might not actually. Let me have a quick deep dive for you. Let's have a quick look if they've got Liverpool's predicted lineups as well. And got West Ham. Just give me one moment to see if they've got it, and I'll share that with you as well. I've seen Liverpool's in the past, but I don't see them right now. Man City, Man United, Aston Villa, Arsenal. Here we go. Liverpool's predicted lineup. So I'm going to share, open the screen. Share this tab. Not sure if you can see this, but I'll read it out. Oh, this looks very clear to me. So let's just answer your question as per the predicted lineups. Alisson 100%, Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, all 100%. Mac and the Hungarian guy who won't pronounce his name, 100%. Salah 100%. Darwin is actually at 40% there. So there's a very strong possibility that he won't start once again. So if you are going to sell Darwin, you've got to look for a good like-for-like replacement on that front. So just keep that in mind as well. Just for those that are monitoring the team leaks, has anything of note come through? Please let me know. It would be greatly appreciated. I like I've said, I'm not used to monitoring leaks and doing a live stream in tandem. And as mentioned, if you're able to like, share, or subscribe, or if you just want to buy me a coffee, that would be greatly appreciated. The link for the coffee is in the description below. And I'm just having a look through. Am I going to make the transfer? I don't want to leave it too late. And I think that Morgan Gibbs-White, I'd be shocked if Forest rotated him, especially with that fixture. So I will. Yeah, I'm gonna commit my transfer. But before I commit my transfer, a question has come in. Should I start? The question was, should they start Mbeumo or Diaby? Of course, both players picked up attacking returns during the opening game. If I'm not mistaken, Diaby came off the bench. He wasn't a starter. I would definitely say that between the two, I would start. Just remember who Villa are actually playing. Who are Villa playing? Can't remember now. Who's just on the fixtures? Am I Aston Villa? Haven't Aston Villa got a blank? No, yeah. Who I've got my. Hold on. Let me just have a look. Sorry, I've just had a significant brain freeze there. Aston Villa are playing Burnley. Of course they are. That is a close call. That is a tough one. So it's either against but is it blank? No, Everton. I beg your pardon. Sorry, Everton. So I don't know, how do I not see that? So Sunday afternoon, right? If I had a choice between Mbeumo or Diaby, it's a tough one. Is Diaby guaranteed to start? Then I'd say start him. But I wouldn't want to bench Mbeumo either. Good luck. Flip a coin. There's your answer. So a question on, a point of note on Gibbs-White. It's just that I think Gibbs-White is so much worse than Richarlison or Mbeumo that overall you'd be better off. Also, Spurs' new manager says they have to do more to create chances for Richarlison. Of course, Richarlison is listed as a midfielder as well, but I can't get Richarlison in because I want to get Mohamed Salah in, Andre, but at the same time, I have to get rid of one of my other players as well. That's where the problem is. And if I was to get a Spurs player right now, I would want to get in Maddison, really. Should I start Eze? That is a good question. If you don't start Eze, who's the other option? Let me know. Rodri over Gibbs White. I know Rodri. There is talk. Is he like the new Yaya Toure? Like he had that fantastic 13-14 season, and Man City like have relied on Rodri quite a lot actually. Not just at the start of this season, but towards the end of last season as well to deliver some goal involvements. And for me, it might be like I'm going for Gibbs White as a punt. If it goes wrong, I'll wildcard him out. That's how I see it. Whereas with Rodri, I'd like to see if he can carry on with these goal involvements, and probably by game week 4, it's a clearer picture. We can see what position, like not position, but we can see if from where he's playing at, if the goals are going to be flowing more so. So that's something that is worth keeping in mind as well. Right now it's Gibbs White. I can't get Gibbs White out of my head. Make the case against Gibbs White if you're in the chat. I'm going to commit my transfer in the next 4 minutes. You can get Richarlison by selling Rashford instead of Bruno. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, I don't want to sell Rashford. I like with Rashford's goal involvements last season as well. It's a hard. I'm not going to make that move. I will not sell Richarlison for Rashford. I'll be absolutely clear on that. Any alternatives for captaincy? I think really the only other options. I've got a captaincy video that you can check on my YouTube channel. And if you go to my library and go to my clips, in fact, it's on my timeline, I've got a 30-second roundup on the options. It's literally Mohamed Salah or Haaland, really. And then you might take a punt on a Arsenal player, perhaps. There aren't that many like stand out captaincy options this week. It is a truly split captaincy, but on effective ownership, I would say that almost certainly, if we base it just on effective ownership, that it's going to be Haaland will be the EO captain. Let's put it that way. But I feel that the split is that significant that you could captain Salah, he blanks, Haaland delivers, and it's not going to devastate your rank. That's what my conclusion is, basically. Would you transfer out Darwin for João Pedro now, or wait to do it next game week? That's a question from 85 Bears. I'd say this to you: if you've got no other fires in your team, get João Pedro in now. His fixtures are going to get trickier. So my advice would be: it seems like the predictors are saying Darwin will not start. That's not my words. That's what the predictors are saying, according to Jump the Wave. And he didn't start last week as well. So, yeah, why not get João Pedro and unlock some funds? So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Didn't Gibbs White come off the bench against Arsenal? Asked someone. And I really hope that isn't the case, because let me just check that. I'll be so gutted if that was the case, actually. I think the person who came off the bench, was it not Brennan Johnson for Nottingham Forest? But that's going to put some doubt in my mind. No, Gibbs White played a full match. So the person who asked that question, let me just flip that off. He did not start from the bench. And from the minutes I've seen for Nottingham Forest last season, Gibbs White has been a regular starter and is getting regular goal involvements as well. So that's my take on that. So with that said, I'm giving you all free reign here. Tell me why I shouldn't do Salah and Gibbs White in for KDB and Bruno Fernandes. I'm giving you I'm gonna commit this transfer in the next minute or two. And if I can't hear a good enough reason, I will commit to this. In fact, let's get it on the make transfer screen. I don't want the site to crash. So that's what I'm looking at right now. This isn't like me just saying this for the sake of it. I'm genuinely willing to take this -4. And of course, a -4 now in game week 2, it's going to wreck my rank. But I'm hoping that a Mohamed Salah captaincy, him delivering some returns against Bournemouth, will insulate it. I'm just thinking long and hard. What else could I do? If I wanted to be more on the side of, I don't even call it safety. When you have a split captaincy, it's literally 50-50. So I'm going on the side of Mohamed Salah isn't someone who is a regular blanker. He's someone who likes his FPL. He plays the game as well, and he's just regular for goal involvements since he rejoined the Premier League against Liverpool. So this is the move that I'm looking at, essentially. And I would need a really good reason as to why I shouldn't make this move. And I feel that I know someone gave a good justification, not a justification, the reasoning about do Richarlison and get rid of Rashford instead. I would not get rid of Rashford. Absolutely not. I just didn't feel comfortable with the fact that Fernandes was just sitting back more. And did I consider Ben Rama for West Ham? So that's another question that's come in as well. I did, but then I know Ben Rama actually. Apart from that great start he had like 2 seasons ago, I can't really think of him being a viable FPL asset. I know West Ham's fixtures are reasonable enough for the opening fixtures as well, albeit Chelsea in game week 2. I'm not going to get Ben Rama. The reason I have considered Gibbs White is, to my knowledge, he is on set pieces for Nottingham Forest. He's a regular starter. He's someone who had great form towards the end of last season as well. And if Nottingham Forest are going to score against newly promoted Sheffield United, you'd expect him to be involved. And like I've said, if it goes horribly wrong for me, I can wildcard him out in like 2 weeks at the earliest. So I'm quite relaxed about that. I'm just gutted that I'm in this position where I have to take a -4 early on. I don't feel comfortable having to do so like this early. It's just not the way I play the game. I would rather have had a steady team, but I just kind of messed it up by getting rid of Mohamed Salah in my penultimate draft towards the end of, well, this time last week, as it were. So I'm just having a look for some final leaks, really. I can't see anything that is telling me that I shouldn't there's nothing that is telling me otherwise. And for the person who said that Morgan Gibbs-White started from the bench last season, he did not. So just 2 final questions. Would you transfer out Tarkowski for Chilwell and take a -4? I always find it hard to justify doing a -4 for a defender, and I actually did consider doing a -4 for Chilwell as well this game week. It's a tough one. I mean, I would not recommend it. Have you got other fires in your team? I personally would like to consider Chilwell after game week 2, but yeah, if you're willing to do it, then fair play. His price will shoot through the roof now that James is injured, so fair play to you on that. Captain Salah or Haaland? So the person who's asking me that question, I've literally put out a video on this particular topic. You can check it out on my timeline. It's literally 4 minutes long where I make the case for both Salah and Haaland. Just in a nutshell, Haaland will be the EO captain, but a large minority of managers will captain Salah as well. So just keep that in mind as well. So I've not seen any reason why I shouldn't make this move. So here goes. Can't believe it. I'm bringing in a Nottingham Forest player who I'm actually going to have to rely upon for points this week. Do not want to play wildcard. If anyone from FPL is listening, you need to change this button. So this button always scares me at the transfer screen. You need to make it super small, not make it the first button. No, I don't want to play free hit either. It's almost like a trap, isn't it? Play wildcard, play free hit. That's what I want to do. So I actually did flag it to them that they should have it so that confirm transfers should be the top button. And they've also got this dark background as well to make play wildcard, play free hit stand out. But we're confirming the transfers, and it's done. So just make sure I got the right players, actually, now that I've done that. Oh, my God. Oh, God, the game. Oh, I forgot it was 6:15. Oh, no, those moves. I don't think the moves got confirmed. Oh, my goodness. Oh no. I hit confirm, but I think I must have done it literally bang on at 6:15. Oh my goodness. Oh dear, oh dear. So I'm in this nightmare situation now where I've either got the same team from last week and I've got no playing sub. Oh no. Did that go through or not? For those that were watching my screen, did that go through? Put it on replay. But even if it went through, my goalkeeper is probably Edison, and my captain is Haaland with Mohamed Salah. That defeats the whole purpose of a -4. This is live. Oh my goodness! How have I messed that up? I was thinking 6:30, and I literally reminded you all it's going to be at 6:15. So, oh dear, oh dear. I'm lost for words. If it went through, I'm annoyed because Mohamed Salah isn't my captain. And if it didn't go through, well, I've got a free transfer for game week 3, but I've got a very dilapidated team. I've got 10 million in the bank, which, well, not 10, I've got 10 million in the squad that's going to do absolutely nothing for me. I guess I'm going to find out in what, 45 minutes? But there we have it. Anyway, I hope you confirmed your transfers in time. And I've learned a lesson as well that if I am going to do a live stream and do transfers, I'm going to do it a lot earlier than I have done it. I was waiting for like late team news as well. So there we have it. Mohamed Salah will probably score a hat trick against Bournemouth. Morgan Gibbs-White will probably score a hat trick against Sheffield United, and I've missed out on it. May your arrows be green, and may your arrows be green. May your mind be serene. Take care and all the best. Thank you. Bye.